The following podcast may contain spoilers.
Hey everybody, it's good to be back. Sorry we went a little bit over what we said we were going to go. We had a few issues. Some of the schedules for our vacations changed. We had one of our computers that we've been using for recording a long time died.
That was really fun, just watching SSD just implode.
Yeah, man, we we took apart a computer trying to figure out what was going on, and it was just, dead SSD.
As a supervisor, it was pretty funny watching them go, whoa, this is a fucking this isn't an SSD. This is an SSD?
Look up the model number. Look up the model. Holy shit, it is an SSD. This computer ran so slow, though. How could it have been an SSD?
Doesn't make any fucking sense. Oh, well, though.
It was a good, frustrating few hours, but, we have a new setup now, so all's good.
Yeah.
And it's honestly better than it used to be, so good.
Welcome back, folks.
We're finally truly bougie podcasters with an Apple rig.
Oh, no.
Oh. Okay, what's our names?
My name is Jonathan Kinney. I'm your host of the Treading the Path of Heaven podcast. I'm joined, as usual, by my co-hosts.
I'm Bill.
I'm Rich.
I am Seth.
Oh, wow. We really
And,
get everybody's names.
Today we are doing another one in our series of Knights episodes, although it's not a full Knights episode, given that we won't be covering the full length of the series.
It's a Twilight's episode. I said that we did one of these before.
I think the Twilight was what we did for Absolute... No, that was Purgatory. I don't remember.
We've never done a Twilight.
We never actually called it that. It
call
still
it
went up
a
as a
sunset?
Knights, but I'm pretty sure I made
This is
the
like
same joke.
this is more
before.
like an evening because, okay, we're gonna try something a little different here. We're gonna cover everything that See, I've read. Okay.
Yeah,
Hold
okay,
on.
yeah.
Let me set up.
Let's start
I've
here.
read all of King's Avatar. I've read it all the translation. I've read the machine trend. I'm a big fan of this novel.
And
okay?
after... I now understand why.
Apparently, I know they've made an anime for it. It has a manga now, and it has a live-action television show.
That's
Sure
right, run
it
by
bang
Netflix,
does.
and they've got pretty yang in there.
I don't think it's run by Netflix. I think it might be just published by Netflix. Netflix buys up a lot of shit.
Well,
They'll put their
it's
name
out,
on it.
Yeah,
No, I know, but they
Yeah.
produce.
it's
they
marked as
produce
I believe
a lot
it's
of
marked
stuff.
as a Netflix original, but I'm not sure.
I mean, the
That's not to say it's not that.
Netflix original just means that they're putting it out on their
gives them
platform.
marketability to the Chinese market. But hey,
Yeah,
it's more people to buy subscriptions.
certainly.
What's going to be fun about this, though, is I have not watched the live-action show.
And I have read, I think, maybe 100 chapters of King's Avatar, but both Bill and I have watched the recently put out live action show.
And it was pretty sweet.
And
Yeah.
we're gonna compare notes here, guys. So bear with us.
Yeah, so basically the live action show does have a second season planned, and I believe, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I am of the impression that it intends to push on to the end of the series, although it may take a couple seasons, I don't know. That was just given the pacing they took in the first season, it kind of made sense that that's where they'd go. But essentially, they second season is already in production. It's planned to come out later this year, I believe. I don't know if it's going to come out on Netflix, but it's being filmed and in production right now. But as we've I believe we actually did a normal episode about King's Avatar. So I mean, a very
We
big,
did far back, back before there was an anime, or right after a couple episodes of the anime had come out. We were really excited to talk about that and how it was slightly different from the book as far as we had seen. Maybe the first episode had come out, I think.
Yeah. I actually had it on a on an external hard drive.
Yeah, I remember you had to download it, and we watched it, and it was weird and esoteric and hard to follow if you didn't already know what was happening in King's Avatar.
Yeah, it was
That
strange.
being
It
said,
was fun.
I think it did do a really good job of.
if you were to
creating
go
the
back
setting
and
that-
watch it again, you'd be like, oh,
I get this.
No, I almost certainly would, yeah. But yeah, I really liked the live action show when I watched it the first time. I started watching it, and I was because I was like, oh, cool, King's Avatar, a thing we've talked about. I wanna go support this, and I ended up watching. I think it's 40 episodes. They're all about hour length, and I ended up watching the entire series in I think a week.
Wow.
Yeah, you were slamming through it pretty hard.
Kenny and I watched it over the course of a couple of months, but I am firmly on the 75% because I've watched the show and I understand the story. The story itself is wonderful, but the show itself has issues, mainly with translating people playing a video game in live action and making that interesting. Playing a game that doesn't exist.
Well, see, like
with movements that don't exist.
Like the anime, like the fights would lend itself perfectly to the anime because like they're intense as crap. So you get to see like cool anime fights happen.
Yeah, and it's really easy in anime to like slow down time and like show the effects of that. Whereas in like live action, like cutting to slow motion is so much more expensive and like requires so much more like focused like in the sense that they were doing it in a live action show. The game part was animated.
Yeah.
It was all computer generated. And honestly, I think they did a decent job of the visuals of it.
Oh, yeah, no, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, I haven't watched, I haven't watched any or read any of this, but I was in the room when a lot of King's Avatar was watched, and it was, it was a pretty show.
Yeah.
It's very decent to watch. Like, it sits pretty neatly in the uncanny valley, but it's not, like, awful.
I have to ask a question. Okay, this is entirely not with the production. Does the TV show Dragon raising its head?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
How does that look like in the TV show?
Okay.
Do you mean the keyboard actions, or do you mean the actual like the look of the move?
How they do
Well,
I don't know.
Kenny,
I can't imagine them. I've only read it.
I'll let
Dragon
Bill
raising its-
describe the action in the game because I want to take the keyboard part.
Fine. Take my rage. So it looks it's a battle mage move. So it's a dude with a spear with armor. He does this little spinny move, and a dragon just sort of appears at the lower right hand side. It's this ethereal gold spectral dragon looking thing. It's Chinese dragon, so it's like the long one.
Skinny, yeah.
So it just sort of flows out. So it's imagine the Genji truck arrows, but only one of them, and it
Okay.
goes in a straight line. And at some point in time, instead of just hitting them, it hits them and then goes upwards.
Yeah, it basically just changes trajectory once. It was like, doop, boop.
Yeah.
And you have to
neat.
somehow decide when to shoot it upwards and how to shoot it upwards.
So in the book, the reason why Dragon raising his head is only done by him is because it's a move that only goes straight, right? Like
Yeah.
Dragon breaks the ranks is like we go straight, Dragon it moves straight. His APM and the way he does it is so finesse he can curve the dragon. So in the book, the way they explain it is the curve is something serious, like split second, but the curve is something that you've never seen before.
Oh yeah, no, it's like it goes from going flat horizontal to the ground to going straight up into the air. It is a 90-degree turn.
Yeah, no, it's like it's like a vector diagram, like boom, boom.
It would make sense to me if he like launched it and then hit a button at one point
And
that
then it
told it to
changed.
do that.
But no, yeah, no, it's pretty absurd on all counts. But more absurd than that is it is the most absurd hand movements because they had to find some way to make it visually interesting and also distinct. So what they did is they did this huge giant circle with the mouse to like set it up and then like a quick whipping action with the mouse. Along with like hitting like the WASD buttons really fast. And I'm like, I know that's not how it's represented in the show because I've heard Richard describe this move to me. So I know how cool this should be. But you like
I'm just sitting there going, no, that is not how video games work. I get you.
You don't make a big circle with your mouse.
Like you would have just sent your camera spiraling out of control just now. Don't you tell me that.
yeah, no, I'm very much in Bill's camp on this because like I feel the same way about that he does about the show. On the second viewing when I wasn't so much like trying to like desperately understand what's going to happen to the story, who's going to join, how's all this going to work out, which I was much more concerned about than the actual like I don't know technical details of the show. But there are a lot of issues with like there was an awful translation at first, like
Oh, God.
like almost unreadable. They translated healing as transfuse blood.
Give blood. Give blood.
Yeah. It was bad. It was very bad.
Oh no.
Like it was like you had to both understand what King's Avatar was and understand game like culture really well and be able to approximate other like It's like if someone who didn't know what games were had to try and name actions in games.
And
And that's how they translated it.
Restore vitality. Oh no.
It was thick and
Add blood! Add blood!
I couldn't get through it. But then immediately, like a couple of days after I said, nah, I can't watch this, they released a fixed translation.
There was a huge outcry of people that are like, this is unreadable garbage.
What are you guys doing?
How did this get past QC?
I think we talked about that with actually some listeners in our Discord as it was happening too.
Yeah,
So,
no,
like,
we definitely did. But they pretty quickly, I think within like a week or two after the show got put up, they had fixed the subtitles. And after they did that, although it wasn't perfect, the shitty translations were the exception and not the rule at that point. Not to say there's still some like weird stuff, just like where Chinese doesn't translate well to English.
Give me an example.
They just do things awkwardly, like where they'd end sentences with like an adverb that shouldn't be at the end of a sentence. Like it's just like things that like it's not like terrible. It's just like a little off, and it feels a little off.
They didn't have good localization to make this communicate. They didn't.
That makes sense.
But there are a lot of problems with the pacing of the show.
Oh yeah, no. Whenever we go to like, oh man, Guoguo's sad again. Oh boy, everybody strapped down for 2 episodes of Guoguo being sad. Oh wait, she fucked up again. She turned the sheet into the wrong place.
Yeah, she gave me a very different impression in the book than she did because like in the live action series, she's kind of like, oh darn it, me.
Wait, Chin Guo?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Whereas in like
no, she's not like that at all.
Yeah, she's like
kind of bumbling. I actually
Chin
remember
Guo is
specifically
not
an episode.
bubbling.
I remember an episode where she's like, oh hey, I actually set you guys up for that kill that you have to do to level up your whole guild or whatever. He was like, when did you do that? She was like, this morning. He was like, there's like a 12-hour time limit on that. What the okay. And like has to get everybody together right then to do a thing. Like
Chin Guo is not an idiot.
Yeah,
and
no,
she's
it
not
wasn't-
bumbling. She's like boss. She is literally the boss. There's some stuff when it comes to professional player stuff that she doesn't know, the regular person. But when it like business, running things, setting stuff up, doing stuff, she knows where she should be and where she shouldn't be.
Yeah.
She understands what's going on.
I'm almost positive that comes through more, not only in the book but later. But like at the onset when she not only knows nothing but like doesn't know him. Not knowing him, she is at her peak. It's like he's just a dude. She doesn't feel awkward around him, so she just bosses him around, and he like tells him he's fucking incompetent to his face. Premium. Like, not gonna lie to you, the first couple of episodes, gorgeous.
Yeah, it was great just watching him like not being able to put in a water cooler and her being like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
He just doesn't know how to function as a human. He can just play games.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of the bakers from France and Yakitate, Japan, who only baked. They would only use their arms for baking because they didn't want to. So that all the other brain cells that weren't related to baking would atrophy, giving more room for their baking-related muscles and memories to grow stronger.
That's the purest baking art. That's genius.
But yeah, she's neat. She just like the first giant half is like establishing Happy like as a thing, and then like the second half is Challengers League. Once Challengers League sets in, boom, game starts happening again. Everything's fun. It's just
yeah, there's like a middle point between when you're like, there's the part where it's like Jun Monjiao is Lord Grimm is just like the important part of the story, and like that arc is hilarious and awesome because it's him just trolling the entire 10th server of Glory.
That is accurate on so many levels. Do they cover him selling records to, like Herb Garden and Tyranny and
legitimately, I started to feel so sorry for the guild president of Blue Rain. Like, he becomes an endearing character because of just how hard he gets trolled.
Did they show that the guy who was the guild leader on the Tim server, he had earned that, right? For Blue Rain, did they show them roping him in to become like the babysitter for their okay. All right, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
All right.
No,
his life is so hard.
The first
Poor more, man.
My first quarter, you just get to see all the trials and tribulations that he puts people through. Like the hey guys, just stand here. Just stand here. I'll be back, and we'll have the record.
One of my favorite moments in that show is the moment where he's bragging to everyone about the record that their team holds, and then like as during the meeting where he's talking about the records and how they're gonna go take everything else, so Juma Zhao helps someone else get the record, and it gets announced in their club room.
I used to love like.
And then he's just like, records exist for them to be broken by us. He walks off crying as soon as no one can see him.
Oh my god.
Oh no. Or the guy who ends up becoming the happy fan club president.
Oh yeah.
His initial getting trials with fucking Lord Grimm.
That guy legitimately might have had a more dynamic character arc than the actual main characters of the show.
I have never seen someone turn around so hard. Like, oh god, and like the scene where he's trying to make it up to Yang Yang with like all the gifts, and just like
He keeps giving him hyacinth-related goods. It's like, I'm allergic to hyacinth.
Oh, so they added a little more character interaction for minor characters here.
It seems like yeah. They I feel like I don't know. I do really like the King's Avatar live action, and because like I think what was important, what the live action show wanted to convey was the life of an esportsman. So like when they made cuts, I honestly think it was in the service of telling that story, because like everything in this show, every theme they hit about is about that esports life. It's about like what happens when my body can no longer keep up those APM, like.
Oh yeah, like with their old guy Warlock who comes in.
Oh yeah.
And he starts having hand injury issues in the Challengers League.
And like
okay.
how difficult is it to be here? How like I love that concept of like, yeah, if you're here, you know how to execute. Everyone here works hard. Every single person, like you can't be here if you haven't put in the work. What do you do that separates you above that?
Yeah.
Like,
Or like that super set. Speaking of the Warlock, that super. There was a moment where he goes back because like everybody's like, oh well, what, and then they like storm off to go do their own things for like a second.
yeah,
Like
everyone gets mad because they fucked up once.
and like once was enough. That tore it. But he goes back to his old crew, and everybody just like gets together to play for a second. Then they all have things to do.
Yeah, they all get together to do a raid, and in the middle of the raid, like, all of their wives or significant others or whoever call them and are like, hey, why aren't you home with the stuff yet? And he's like, oh, sorry, next time, bye. And they all just, like,
Okay,
leave.
that's cool, because that does not happen in the book. Like, wait, like that didn't happen.
Like, and they just so Wei Chin just being, like, by himself and being like, fuck, I just want to play Glory with people. I guess I'm going back to Happy. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, like
the show does some cool stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like no, I agree. It does show like this is kind of what it takes to be a professional player. You have to live it. You have to live at this compound. You have to train. You have to go to meetings and like talk about the
Practice
game.
things that aren't fun.
Exactly.
Yeah,
oh god, we gotta go farm for equipment so we can rebuild the umbrella for the third time.
I hate Sun Jiang, but I also love him in the show because like every time you see that guy, he's like after everyone else has quit practicing, he's there practicing more intensely than any of them were by himself.
I gotta give credit to Sung Xiang. Like, he is really good. Like, there's a reason why he was chosen to take up the reins of Ye Chu leaving Excellent Era.
Yeah.
He never hit a like I don't know if they covered that. Did they cover the rookie block? Because the rookie block is a real thing in regular sports, but they cover it in this one.
They had some kind of stuff where they talked about like where they'd show like the secondary teams that were like training to try and get into Team 1, which I think might be kind of what you're.
So the rookie block, okay, for people who make it into the Glory League, like this is your first year on a team, and your first unveiling, and you have talent, you do pretty good, right? To become rookie of the year, you do pretty good, and then the teams figure you out, right? Like halfway through the season, and then their stats dip because everyone figures out how to deal with this new person, their play style,
the rookie block.
The rookie block is a real thing. It happens in football. It happens in we get footage, we figure you out, and then we shut your ass down for the rest of the year. Yeah, Sung Xiong is one of the first that never had a rookie block. Like he's the real deal.
Yeah,
he's really fucking good.
He's
not a captain. He's not a captain, mind you. He's a terrible captain. They point that out in the book that the real captain was my man Thunderclap captain, fucking Xiao Shiken. He's the real captain there. But
he's the only one that had any machinations in that entire team except for Su Mu Chung. But
but she's not gonna do that. Not for them.
Also, Su Mu Chung.
Yeah,
great
but she would, and that's the point, is because she is a fucking sportsman. Even if she is playing against the people she loves and cares about, and could legitimately ruin their esports career, her dedication to glory and being a professional is enough to beat the hell out of her opponent.
But I do love her communicating with these people. When we're done here, win or lose, I'm leaving your team. I'm not here.
They did did they in the book talk about them as kids a lot? Because like they had a ton of flashbacks with her and her brother.
Talking about her brother is one of those things where it's rarely done, and when it happens, it's kind of heavy. There's too many things happening. There's too many real shit happening for them to focus on this stuff. But the big thing was when it gets near Christmas, they would go and do the family stuff because they have time off. But like, because they're worrying about their life, we don't get a huge amount of them flashback into the stuff. It's like, Yaechu and Su Machine guard that stuff. They guard that, and you feel that in the book. They guard that. That doesn't get brought up unless it's between them or by themselves. And they're by themselves. Yeah. And the relationship with Chinguo, Su Machine, and Yaechu is special because they all share the loss of a loved one in that aspect. Mm-hmm. So when they're going to go pay their respects to their graves, it's the thing they do together. That's like a really big story thing in the book.
No, I very much love that he became like an adopted brother in their family. And like it's like they're not related by blood, but they're like, they are brother and sister.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I apologize. This jogged my memory for Old Master and like Little Light. The grandpa to Yaechu.
Oh god, yeah, Yaechu's grandpa. They did a whole scene with him and like going into the Alzheimer's and like.
No, there's no. That's new. That's just. Tell me about this. That's TV show only. I don't know anything.
Okay,
about that.
So his dad kicks him out of the house after he leaves, and his dad's like, "Don't come back." And so his grandpa, as he's leaving, like gives him a key, and he's like, "You're always welcome here." And they go into this whole scene of like the relationship between him and his grandpa, and like they have this scene of he and the grandpa playing Contra together, or like the grandpa like with a controller playing Contra, and you just see him like winning and like them being like, "Yeah, you did it! Like great combo! You fucking like did it! Like that's exactly how you win this. I got my esports talent from you. And then at a certain point, they show that the controller is like not plugged into anything, and Yaechu's just like playing underneath the table to do it. But it's like they had this whole thing of like where they play together, and then like they have this. He's got like a tape recorder that he gets later that listens to, and it shows this story of him like being like, remember to ask Little Light if he's found a place to live. Remember to ask him when the channel they're going to broadcast the esports competition on. Remember what if they're going to do this. And then like it's a really sweet thing because he brings the tape recorder to the first match at the Challengers League. And like after he wins, he's like, Little Light wins the competition.
Oh,
was like fucking powerful.
Wow, that's not. Whoa, I like though. No, that's interesting.
But it was just this like collection of like phone calls, and it's like, hey, Little Light, have you, ever since you left, I can't seem to win the game. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have you found some place to live? And he like keeps asking him on every time, like, have you found some place to live?
So they covered that about his brother and his family reaching out to him and leaving him messages, but they never touched on wow.
Yeah, so it seems like they've taken some straight liberties in general.
That's cool though.
While not messing with the actual core plot line, so that's impressive.
They did get Yang Yang to play his brother.
That was fun. They had Yang Yang play both. which led to some very funny Guo interactions.
But no, like also the scene on the rooftop where it's just him like dressed shabbily and him and his brother dressed in a suit and them just talking about home.
Yeah. So they did do the whole coming to visit during the holiday and
Yeah, they did that,
him.
one, because they wanted to explain how their guild got money, but two, also to foreshadow the handing back of the name card.
yeah. Because
which
he stole his brother's
brother's
name card.
identity,
The
yeah.
reason being is his parents definitely wouldn't have allowed him to compete because he comes from a upper class family and they didn't want anything to do with that. Interesting.
Yeah, no, and they go into like they have a whole arc about the kid that that
money?
he sent to America.
His brother gave him money, or
they tricked him into giving him money.
that is a TV show only thing.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a fun story too. They basically they got him to like come in and like, yeah, no, he hides his game card in his room. There's no one could find it, and they put it in like a really obvious place for him to be able to find it, and just like kept like they basically manipulated him into logging on and then like trying to disband the guild from the account. So they like let him find the card and then had the other people in the guild be like, well, I mean, I guess we can do that, but the people in the guild are going to need compensation. I'd need at least this much gold. So he just buys the gold and sends it to the people, and then they disband and then reform like later, but with all the
Okay,
equipment
that's
and
pretty
stuff.
cute. That is so. Oh man. So okay, in the story, the way they were able to get gold and get money was my man, old warlock Wei Chin. He figured out a way of farming skill points, the most valuable thing ever. And did they show them selling
They did that,
the
yeah.
techniques to teams for large amounts of cash?
Yes.
Basically, yeah, I mean, they didn't show those scenes, but it was discussed.
That shit was intense. Like the contracting and proving their point of how to do it and all that, and how they made sure that Soft Mist and Lord Grimm and the rest of them got max stats. Wait. Y'all didn't get to the point where they increased the level cap.
No, actually, that does happen. Well, I mean, at least once.
Okay.
Because that actually happens. I think right before the finale of the show when they match up against Excellent Era, because that's like that's what's gonna throw it all into the thing. Because it's like, well, now they're getting stronger, but there's no strength increase for the unspecialized, because they don't have any high rank skills. So like they're not getting anything new with the level up cap increase, and that's why they're gonna win. Because there's always got to be something making it unfair for fucking Happy.
Nah, man, Unspecialized are just broken, dude. You got hundreds and hundreds of skills to use to make these combos that are impossible for other people to do. Like,
yeah,
Jesus Christ. Oh man.
Oh no, it's great because like with the exception of like one or two times in the series, basically anytime Lord Grimm like starts, he wins.
Oh no! Okay, one thing that the game had, the show has, like over the book, specifically dynamic camera. It is it is the one thing I want in every game. It is like the game just knows. Like, oh man, something cool happened. Let's do it like a sweeping motion. Like,
yeah,
no, they cover that in the in the book, specifically in the stadiums and the way the cameraman and the broadcast works. They talk about how the broadcast.
No, this is everything. This is like, are you playing a normal game?
Yeah, no, this is just what happens. There was a time where they had an Easter egg that they had that Muchu had built into a level that he had designed. And they just, like, show them talking on top of it, and as they're having a conversation, it just keeps zooming out and out, so you see the map in greater size. And it's like one of the
spirals that, like, go in on itself.
Yeah,
the paper that has one side.
Mobius strips.
Mobius strip is killing me.
Did they cover, like, the special events or running into other people trying to become pros and trying to sell themselves to teams, or... Did they like
the second one? Not so much. The first one, more probably less in detail, but like they had a lot of scenes where like other guilds were competing with them for shit, and like a lot of
They show like the boss fights or like
a lot of the in-game content was like boss raids.
Okay.
They did scrap picking. That was
so you met my man Mofan.
Oh
yeah, Mofan is the best. I love that.
Mofan's the worst. Come on, man.
Mofan is the best. There was a moment where they had just won a big victory and they were like all drinking, and so Yichu drinks, has like one drink and like instantly passes out, and Wei Chen is like talking about it. It's like, well, no, that's how you know he's a real professional, because he's afraid to drink because he can't even let his mind slip a little bit. And he's like, and that's how you know it's real. And he's like, but I can of course drink. And you see Mofan with like multiple bottles in front of him, and he just like looks down, picks up his drink, just like lays down himself, closes his eyes. And I'm like, I love you, Mofan.
But nah, man, like, oh no, the brick dude,
Steam Bun Invasion, Dao Rocks Rong Xing.
No, man, like,
Steam Bun Invasion is...
I love him. I love him so much. I love the things that he does, except for the fact that he just becomes a monkey at one point. Like, they just use him for losses. They're just like, oh yeah, he just doesn't have a good sense of direction.
Yeah,
like...
The game has like a hard time, I think, translating why some of the matches went one way or another. So sometimes they're just like, oh man, I was into an area of the map I wasn't used to. I got lost and they shot me from high ground. I'm like, you couldn't look up, dude. You're not incompetent.
That sucks.
Yeah, there's sometimes
Steam Bun shouldn't be the punchline of a joke, because he's one of those characters where like he's literally like a happy secret weapon, in that he's a wild card entirely.
That's true.
And like, you pair him with Ye Chu, who can make up for the fact that he's inconsistent, which makes him even more deadly, because he can like make top tier players like trigger them by the way he plays.
Do you know how many bricks I've thrown?
I've thrown more sand than the Saharan desert.
So he's doing like cool stuff, like hiding poison darts within the sand, and like
I'm very like, yeah. I honestly
eat
kind
my
of
brick. Good.
The time when they all dress up to be professionals and he dresses up like a Yakuza thug with a brick. It's good time.
And they like leave him. We do not know this man.
So let's see here. They you guys told me off mic about how they did Tangrel.
She's like I don't know. I feel like all the characters that aren't Yang honestly got a little bit shafted in this, because I think they just tried to make him, because he was super attractive.
He's so pretty.
And like in the book, his personality is so forceful that it forms all the relationships around him. Whereas like his ability for glory, but like his looks don't factor into it. But like, I think the fact that he keeps his personality in the live action show, but also looks super pretty, just puts him in this weird unspoken state of dominance over the other characters.
Like in the book, they talked about how like they were happy that, you know, Ye Chu retired, because like the people who make money off the players, because Zhao Zakai of Samsara becomes now the best player in the league. And Zhao Zakai, who in the book, they like, he's super attractive, but he can't talk for crap, but he's really good in the game. So because he's so pretty, we can sell things for him. Or like Sumu Ching, she's beautiful, so we can make money off him.
And they cast, she may be my favorite casting in this show. Like, she nailed her job. Like, she was such a delight at pretty much every time she was on camera.
But but in the book, he's like Wayne Jexi. He's kind of average looking, and he has a lazy eye, so he doesn't really. He's really good, but doesn't make a huge amount of money on selling things. Or like Lord Grimm, like Ye Chu. He's just like an average dude. He's an average looking guy, right? Like, he's supposed to be an average looking dude. He doesn't look like he's someone important, but you know, his talent, and he always kept himself hidden from people because he didn't want to draw.
That scene where his dad comes to the match in the Challengers League and he unmasks himself for the first time is so powerful.
What? This is some crazy stuff, bro.
Yeah, no, from the sounds of it,
it looks like they just kind of did whatever they felt like. All right, cool.
Like,
that's kind of why I was excited for this episode.
Wow. Like, there's so many. Like you realize the reason why he doesn't have a huge amount of money is not because they weren't paying him a lot. It's because he was taking care of all of his first and second generation brothers to Glory League because they had bad contracts. So all of his extra money was going to help them move on with life. Because early esports didn't pay anything.
Yeah.
So like Wei Chen making his money via hustling in game after he retired because he thought, this is season 3. It's time to move on. The new generation's here. And he retires and he realizes, no, I want to taste that. Like every time Wei Chen steps into a match or like wants to get past Challenge League into the matches, and he's working hard he's an older guy. He's one of the oldest players. He's older than Ye Chu. He's in his late 20s.
Yeah.
I understand that. Like, you can only do so much, right?
And they start like laughing at him for as an old man.
But he's one of the few that he can play the crowd like a wrestler. Like when he comes out for matches, he'll do like bows. He'll rile them up on the way because he needs to get in their mind to mess them up. Like there's this. I'm gonna jump ahead just a little bit for one of the many victories Wei Chen has, right? And this is in the playoffs, okay? In the playoffs in season 10 of Glory League.
Yeah.
Because the book goes through multiple seasons. But
Well, hold on. What season are they in whenever they start?
That's 10.
So season 9 is when they go into Challenge League. That's season 9 of Glory. Season 10 is post Challenge League when Happy's competing in season 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like
Season 11 is after, yeah.
Okay.
So they were competing to be part of season 10.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that lined up as well.
Okay, so they're having a match, and this is I'm not even talk about this. Is like let's do one of the season matches, okay? And he's fighting they're fighting against Tyranny. I'm not even gonna do like the really impact one. They're doing the Tyranny, and they're doing on this really technical map Tyranny chose to take advantage of their lesser experienced players, because Happy's a team of rookies
And veterans.
and 3 old men.
Yeah.
Because you guys probably have not met Fong Rui.
What did he do?
He had the golden hand. He was the dirtiest thief.
Yeah, no.
Not even thief. He was the dirtiest rogue. He used to plant traps, and he used to be part of Winhow. He was the Winhow's vice captain.
The last person we ended up getting is Dawn Rifle.
This was so Dawn Rifle was just there to help during the Challengers League. And then he later goes to just be the guild leader of Happy in guild because
he
he's
was
not
talking
good
about
enough, right? He's just not good enough. And he knows that.
Yeah.
But after they make it out of Challengers League, this is a little bit of a spoiler.
Yeah.
They have the open trading season, and they need someone because they lose Sun Jiping because he goes to Heavenly Swords. They made a deal, and that after Challengers League, Sun Jiping will go and help Heavenly Swords. Sun Jiping is the greatest barbarian of all time. In fact, of all time. Like, some would say he's still the best one, but he has hand problems. But for doing Blood and Blossoms that him and Zhang Jiali made famous, and then the new barbarian showed up and he's like, I'm not like Sun Jiping. Like, the barbarians from other teams, like the barbarian from Blue Rain, who left her team to go to Windhow. Well, not Windhow, Blossom, to play for them and take their position for Blood Blossoms. He's trying to explain to him, I'm never going to be Sun Jiping. Blood and Blossoms is never coming back. I have my own style, and we will lead it our own way. So there's these backstories of all of these players, because all these lineages are things that are happening in the story, and we cover them, right? But Sun Jiping had to leave in his prime. He should be a champion. And that's why Zhang Jiali never won and retired, right? Never won with his team. So he, out of nowhere, retired. And then later came out of retirement to go play for Tyranny. And Tyranny made their super team in season 9, which you probably see background stuff that's going on outside the Challenger League. Do they cover anything that's happening the actual pro league during the Challengers League.
Not even a little bit.
That is some of the most important stuff to the story, which is why
they probably are covering it next season.
Yeah, that's my guess. Is that's what it'll start with probably next season.
Dude, like, because while they're doing that, they're playing with So the Excellent Era ends up going to the Challengers League because of shit that happened in season, season 8 and 9, messing their players playing worse because they're messing with Ye Chu in game, and they're losing their conditioning, right? And like even the guy who keeps recurring and trying to mess with. Do they talk about him from Excellent Era?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That one guy,
scumbag, the Lu Chen, I think.
Yeah, he's there. He was their original vice captain.
Yeah, no, the guy that Ye Chu kicked out is basically his last act as captain of Excellent Era.
Pretty much, yeah. That guy.
Oh, dude, there was a fucking scene where his child.
Lu Hao.
Yeah, sorry. The other guy, the guy that he was Teng Zhao, the business guy for Excellent Era.
Yeah.
When he was talking to Lu Hao, he was like, well, now that Ye Chu's gone, I mean, obviously I should be put back on the team, right? And the guy, Teng Zhao, just looks at him and he's like, sorry, like, when Ye Chu made that decision, he was still captain. It's just like, you deserve that, you piece of shit.
So, like in the story, Lu Hao, he's a problem. Like the problem with Lu Hao, right, is not that he's not good, because Lu Hao's a very good spell blade. He proves that time and time again when he goes to other teams. He's actually really good. The problem is one, he's unwilling to put himself out there, and two, he's thinking about other crap instead of playing the game.
Yeah. No,
like Lu Hao's,
he's all about politics.
Yeah, instead of playing, but he's like a good spell blade. But
if you would just play the game, he'd probably be good.
He'd probably be good.
But no, he's too worried about scheming and being a righteous
He became a vice captain for a reason. He was really good, but let's mess over Ye Chu, whatever, dude.
Try not to fucking play for yourself. Play for the team, you piece of shit.
Pretty much.
I will say one of the weaknesses of the show is I never actually get an explanation on all of the classes, or like what they do.
Yeah, you have to kind of pick it up by context through like seeing them fight each other.
Oh, dude, they go in
and,
and I would love like a table. I would love to have seen them pull up like a table. Like,
did they ever talk about the difference between a cleric and a paladin? No. And why that choice matters in the way your team stability and the strategy of your team.
That's what I mean. A cleric, and that's about as deep as the introduction.
So they don't. I take it they don't get explained why Anwen Yi, aka Little Cold Hands, is such a savage.
No, because he's actually like trash.
He's not trash. He just only knows how to heal well.
The beauty of him is the beauty of Little Cold Hands is not that he has mechanical skill, is that he has the best decision making humanly possible. He's always going to make the correct decision. He can read the room, read the situation. He can triage. And because of that, it was like, I can teach mechanics. I can't teach these intangibles of decision making.
I guess it like comes across differently because you don't see that thought process that you would written down on a page.
It's another one of those things that gets lost because of the translation from Game World, where everything is taking place in literal fractions of seconds, whereas in the show, like doing Dragon Rising its head is probably a 2 to 6 second thing, which like doesn't translate to the book's mechanics at all.
Yeah.
Or not only that, like you don't hear what he's thinking, you just see what he's like.
They're not doing because the one thing the book does is it switches point of view for people when things are happening.
No.
So they design faking a weakness. Like in the Pro League, Happy's weakness is their healer. It's Little Cold Hands. If you focus Little Cold Hands, if you lock them out, you box them out. But they're like, gotcha. That was the plan the entire time.
They did something like that, but it was hard to follow until it happened.
Yeah, and they do a lot of things that feel very arbitrary. Where it's like something will be hit, and then they'll lose 14% life. Why? 'Cause.
Oh.
Yeah, no, they do gloss over the nitty gritty for like put broad strokes. Like, see, games happening, right? That's why I do have that reservation. Like, I do love this show, but like, you have to like look at the game part and like kind of close your eyes and go, yep, that's how games work.
Did they ever try to explain like the high level talent of starting a combo and then being in a person's shadow, like always outside their field of view while you're juggling them so they can't tech correctly to
like, yes, but like in a sentence or two, and you kind of had to pick up what they were saying. Because they were saying it was like, because it was like part of like Tang Ro's understanding of Yechu's shitty drawn diagrams.
They drew diagram. What?
It was like his like beginner notes of like how to do it, and so like he drew like very simplistic things where it's like, here's a person, move this way, like here's how Z motion works.
Z movement is crazy, by the way.
And like so he did like real simple drawings that were just like, here's like a person, and then like here's the paths you would move, and like she saw that and was like instantly like, oh yeah, this is incredible. I totally get the message of this. And Guogo looked at it and is like, I think this means you're supposed to take breaks to eat. My understanding is so good.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Guogo unfortunately is a punchline more
Damn,
often than she
dude.
should be.
She got Flanderized. Boom, boom.
But yeah, Tang Ro is actually great. I think she's one of the better female characters in the series.
Did they show that Tangro is just a straight up bully / bulldog in the in game?
She is hyper aggressive the entire show.
Like she gets
baited.
She's unga bunga. Like if you played fighting games, she's literally a gorilla. She's just heading forward, and she's like, okay, he's supposed to be like technique wise. Hold up. I have asked. There's a guy who plays for Tyranny, and his tag is he's like the APM guy, right? Did they ever have her at the what is it? They have that little players interaction with fans event.
Oh yeah,
thing?
like the Rising Stars.
Yeah, the Rising Stars.
Absolutely.
And Tangro showed up, and they like picked her from the crowd, and she hit 1-on-1 against him, and he was like, no. Play again, because he loses to her. He's like, no, play again. They played like 5 times up there, and those two maintain that rivalry even in the pro league. Like he pushes himself. He advances as a player because of his rivalry with Tang Ro, and they just up their tempo.
They set up
matches are so good.
I think they set up the start for that, but then I think they kind of usurped it with a scene for Excellent Era. With that ended up being a Sunxiang Yechu kind of like pre-warm up, because they had her fighting someone she wasn't supposed to win. She started winning, and then all of a sudden the guy, despite being about to lose, like suddenly didn't lose.
Oh no! Like the arbitrary, you lost but you didn't lose, to like try to pull at your heartstrings is maddening. Like. Oh man, they lost, but then as they're walking away with their shoulders slumped, one of the guys from the commission comes up and was like, "Oh guys, sorry, there was a mechanical
game timer was off by 0.5 seconds. Actually, that hit."
That does not happen in the story.
We didn't think it did because it was arbitrary and bullshit.
Ever.
Yeah, like
they definitely took some liberties about how matches played out. But again, that's because like the actual meat of that is the techniques and mechanics that they were never able to actually elaborate on.
Okay, I got it. I got how the show like trumps the book. It has 5 songs.
It does have 5 songs. And maybe you might listen and be like, "No, I've heard more music than that." But no, it's the same 5 songs played at different themes or speeds.
Yep. And it's all there to tell you how you feel.
Wait.
Was that? Am I supposed to be sad? Am I sad now?
Oh god, I can't believe we just lost. Oh, how could this happen? I have to just play it better and pick myself back up.
Oh no.
You get very used to their songs, and there's going to be almost guaranteed one montage scene where it's all flashbacks to things you've already seen with one very specific song playing over it.
Oh, flashback attacks keep happening.
I like this show. It does a lot of things very well. Emotionally, I found it rewarding to watch. But it does feel like there's a lot of filler and there's a lot of like stuff that you have to kind of be like, all right.
Well, here's the thing: there's so much stuff they can cover with but I guess they just didn't have the budget to show.
Well, it might not even
moves and in-game interactions and all these, because this is a giant, giant cast of characters, and everyone's important from all the teams.
Yeah,
even the reporters are important. Even the reporters you run into, you learn them by name, and they're important.
Oh no, we get like maybe 2 reporters, and we get a bunch of voices, and that's usually what we hear is like reporters' voices calling out like really divisive and incisive questions. Like these are like vicious people.
Well, like press conferences are a big part of the story. Like if you read it, even when they're doing stuff in game, the whole time, like ESPN is in the background and their personal chat messages are going, and he's in all the professional player chats, and reporters are calling, and he's reading like throughout Happy's climb through the Challenge League and in the pros. There's a hater ass dude writing about them, horrific exposés. There's a point when one dude was Tangrowth is a bulldog in real life, and during her press conference, she was like, I want to 3-0. I want to OCV a team.
Yes.
I'm going to OCV a team.
Yes, she does say that.
It's going to happen. And they're like, you need to apologize. Or they asked him like, oh, you did one and the 2. And she's like, do you feel bad about it? And they wanted her to, be cute and say she's sorry and apologize. And she's like, I'm not saying I'm sorry. And they would just demonize her because she refuses to apologize for wanting to OCV them. They're like, she needs to retire. If she doesn't, she's like, if I don't 3v0 in the next 10 games, I'm gonna retire. And then they're like, make her retire. And then Yaeshu's like, that's not up to me.
No.
That's
her choice. Sorry.
That's her choice.
He kind of has that stance on the matter, but he just sort of is like, come on. All right. Well, you'll learn.
No, he encourages her, and in this one because that's her style of. It's like someone's Dalhart.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like she needs to hold forward. She needs a goal.
All right.
Yeah.
I thought of it. There's 2 main things I want to cover. One, Yaechu, whenever he gets confronted by a reporter at one point, he's like, "Oh look, all these the Team Happy's not taking it serious. Look at them, they're not playing for their fans." And he's like, "No, I don't play for my fans. I play Glory for me. I am thankful for my fans.
Without my fans, none of this would exist. So I from the bottom of my heart, I'm thankful.
But I don't play for you.
I played a he's always. He probably didn't say that, and I don't remember that happening with a reporter and them saying they don't play for their fans. But
it was like a fan of
excellent era,
and he was just showing up like Yaechu doesn't care about the fans. Like he was just.
Wei Chen was talking shit as he usually is, and there was an excellent era fan in the bar.
Yeah.
So they're just like, hey, what are you gonna say that about excellent era's fans again?
And also they had so much gameplay stuff that they had to show not tell, but there's so much that they just refuse to tell.
They see the beauty of it is there's a bunch of new players and a bunch of players becoming pros like Tangrowth, Baorushing, Luo-G, who has to start from nothing.
Luo-G is literally shown as not being able to climb out of a hole at the beginning in the show.
Yeah. So explaining
a hole that
techniques,
he found.
Yeah, explaining technique. I love Luo-G in that he's an example of what you'll find in the fighting game community as a theory fighter, in that his theories are in, like 100%. He's a tech monster. Like guys who will go on Twitter and post, oh, here's a proximity option select that catches these options they do and pretty much wins neutral for you, but they cannot apply it in match whatsoever. Yaechu takes him underneath his ring to teach him how to apply it, but also at first he's trying to discourage him from becoming a professional player first, because it's like Luo-G is not because he sucks.
Okay. Cool.
No. He has potential. Yaechu never says that.
Awesome.
Because Luo-G has so much potential. It's because he's more valuable to the world as a mathematician than he is as a professional player. Like, you will save the world someday, Luoji. You might be wasting your time playing with us.
It's the Yakitate Japan. Sure, you're a 1 in 10,000 baker, but you could be a 1 in 10 million taste judge.
Kawachi.
Yeah. like Luoji, did they show how they met Luoji? He was making guides that were so complex and so difficult for people to follow that they would like downrank them as this is impossible.
Sort of. He was making those in the Happy Internet Cafe, and that's how they met him.
Oh, no.
I mean, like, that's not how they met him, actually. Like, they met him through the game. Just coincidentally, he happened to be doing that at Happy Internet Cafe.
So the intense part is, Luoji is in college way the fuck away. He has to fly out to practice with the team, and then when he leaves to go back to school, because Ye-Chu's like, I don't have a college education, but you do. So continue doing your college stuff. Here's your training regimen. Do all this stuff, and I'll meet you online for more things when you have time. Yeah. You know, like it was very much.
Where do you find the time?
People traveling and Ye-Chu getting stretched thin because he's having to come up with training regimens and do all this other team stuff and design silver weapons until they're able to get engineers to work for the team, for Happy, get space for like building the company is a big part of the story. And I don't know if they focus on like getting sponsorships and
they talk about it enough that you understand and know it's a part of being an esports team. They don't cover the specifics of it like on camera.
Yeah, that's you. They basically have a catch-all of leave Chingguo to doing the money matters. She'll handle all of that. Like,
yeah,
let's just be esports then.
I love it in that everyone in the book gets the chance to shine and everyone's important. Like Chingguo is fighting a battle to keep money in the pocket of the team and keep money so we can get player. Like when they get out of the Challenge League and we have money and this isn't enough and we need sponsorships and we need the trade deadline's coming and we need to offer money to people and we also need to talk to our teammates that made it in and make sure they don't get poached by other teams. And all the teams really want Tang Ro because she's beautiful and she's incredible rookie. They really want Bao Rongxing because he is he's like a diamond in the rough. Like Ye-Chu found diamonds in the rough.
Yeah.
And
then
people
polish them.
Want them. Yeah. And having to deal with contract disputes and finding players and getting the right person in the right class. Like they covered that a little bit with Cao Yifan leaving the training camp for Tiny Herb.
Yeah.
And going on his own and switching class from assassin to Ghostblade.
Yeah, as an assassin he's less than 0, but as a Ghostblade, I give him a 0.
What?
You have to start at 0.
They had a conversation between the captain of Tiny Herb and Ye-Chu, where they were talking about how, like, he basically gave Cao Yifan a test as a Ghostblade. At the same time, the test for him and in Tiny Herb was happening, and so he just left the Tiny Herb test to go log in and do Ye-Chu's quest with 1-inch Ash, and then he did well enough. Like he's like, oh yeah, I give him. As an assassin, he's worse than 0, but as a Ghostblade, I give him a 0. And the guy's like, a 0, huh? Oh, well. And he's like, but didn't we both start from 0?
Oh, my God.
They have some good lines that they're apparently just pulling out of their ass, but they're good lines.
Wayne Jexie definitely sees that the potential of, the kid who's an assassin and Ghostblade. All the kids in his training stuff, he sees their potential, but, like, the problem is a Ghostblade doesn't fit on their team.
Yeah.
Like, him leaving the Happy, losing a talent, but, like, it's a talent he would never have a chance to shine here.
Yeah, no, I totally
like
get
Wayne
their
Jexy's a
position.
good dude, by the way. I don't know if they cover how good a dude Wayne Jexy actually is.
I like every other team in the fucking league. I'm so excited for season 2, mostly because I want those characters to have more screen time. They made them so fucking cool. Just like everyone who's actually at the top of glory is a legit dude.
Yeah.
No, they did have a point to where they were gonna, and this is towards the end of the show. They're ousting Ye Chu because, oh well, you're not a rookie, so the commission's like, well, what do you guys want? And they're like, he just wants to play glory with us. Without him, what are we? And they all just stood up for him, and then the commission's like, all right. Everything done for Ye Chu under your first name with the Q is done away with, is expunged. You are now Ye Chu with an X.
Well,
so that's how they got around the you can't you got out of your contract, but
so like in this one, because they know he's Ye Chu, and at first they're like. The commission doesn't know what the deal will do in the Challengers League because he initially competed under a fake ID, right? That was a thing. That was a whole conversation that had to be had.
I mean, it is a legitimate complaint. It is against the rules.
Yeah. But it was more like you still retired, so you can't compete in Challengers League this year. You have to wait. They had this goal, spend an entire year of him being retired because you can't retire to unretire immediately, right? Because he was forced into retirement, he has to spend a year off to go. And that's a precious year of time for an aging player.
Yeah.
So, like, that's stressful. Did they show, Wang Xiaotian, Yuan Zhu, Lu Han
Huang
Wen?
Xiaotian is actually my favorite character in the show. I live for him to be on screen more because he's just, like, it's great. He doesn't say that much, but it's, like, he fits, like, 7 sentences into, like, one breath.
That sounds like Wang Xiaotian.
He's just like constantly
His
speaking.
APM is so high that while he's fighting you, he's typing whole sentences at you while he's fighting you.
Yep.
And like talking, getting yellow carded for talking shit to people, and red carded for talking shit to people.
I'm almost positive this has an incredible text to speak function because they are also talking out loud.
They can.
Yeah.
Like they actually do have voices. And that was actually conversation that happens in season 10 because it wasn't allowed for them to use voice communication in the booths in game. The reason being here is they want to limit you to instructing your team by typing, which is bad for a strategist like Yuan Zhu because he's known to be a cripple and that his APM isn't very high. So typing at people, one of the strategies people do is kind of like Hack-a-Shack. Like Shaq, like remember, I don't know if you guys know the NBA, but Shaq was so dominant that it was easier to just foul him and make him miss free throws than let him post up and take shots.
Wasted his
So
time.
they were just like, just foul Shaq, make him make free throws. That's better than letting him run free. For Yuan Zhu, he's such a strong strategist. The key is change your strategy so fast in game that he can't type out what the team
correct
should do
strategy
in
to
time.
beat you. He'll know how to beat you,
but he can't communicate it fast enough. So they're like, we should. So they always have like these rule things, like the NFL, where let's change the way the playoffs should be played out because this isn't good for ratings, or let's allow voices in match, but it's like that people like watching the strategies typed out on screen. It's hard for us to funnel the voices of people into it. What if they curse? And then they bring up the problem of Wang Xiaotian.
Yeah, he exists in our league. We can't do this. And you're like, yeah, no, you're right. That's the end of it. All right, adjourned. I haven't read the scene, but I'm assuming that's what happens.
Ah, jeez.
Or like Lu Han Wen, the youngest ever professional player, getting like him being a blade master like Wang Xiaotian, but instead of using a lightsaber like him, using a greatsword, which is something that most blade masters don't do because they're so much slower. But the kid The way
can
he
do it.
plays is so, dude. The style of play with like people like, you learn the style of plays of all the players in the book, right? Like what weapon they use. Like every class use different weapons and they do different stuff. Like if you're a sharpshooter, you could use a long rifle. You can use this type of gun. You can use shorter range guns. All this other stuff, and you'll realize like, yeah, these are two sharpshooters, right? You have, Zhang Zhuan, who uses a long rifle, versus, Zhao Zakai from Samsara using two pistols, auto pistols, and the way they do it, and that Zhao Zakai's gunfu he's one of the few that can be within 3 yards of someone using gunfu because of how ridiculous his execution is.
They had that scene kind of in the Challengers League between Dawn Rifle and one of the gunmen. They ended up like KOing each other, but yeah, it was more of like a...
They kept being like, wait, this guy shouldn't be able to fight in here. He's not using the right weapon to do that shit.
But yeah, no, I guess to just put a capper on it for what I feel my quarrel with it is, like the show does a lot of showing and not nearly enough telling.
I hope they fix that in the next
but that's
season.
like, I mean, that's a TV
problem with
making. No, that's a TV making like
Rule.
Staple is show don't tell.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah,
sorry.
but then they didn't show enough.
I mean, like show because it sounds like they're like one of the big things are like explaining how gunners work and like gun lines and understanding positioning you need to be and why they have the strategy and why they chose this map.
It sounds like they had to choose to make sacrifices, and one of the sacrifices they made was the level of detail that they could share.
No, and that is absolutely the case, and that's what I meant. Sorry.
No. It sounds like they left the overarching story and like, I mean, most of it, and like the themes and like still story beats and all that, but like they just took out the Isaac Asimov level gritty sci-fi fucking crunchy bit on the bottom.
Yeah.
Like,
And I think that's very accurate. It's what I was trying to say when I was mentioning earlier that like the story the director wanted to tell was this is the things a person following an esports career faces in their life.
Yeah.
These are the obstacles and glories that they get to experience. Mm-hmm. And like if detail needed to be sacrificed in the name of that, they would absolutely do that.
A couple things I hope they do in the next season. I hope they show I hope they don't cut out more Sun Ziping. I hope they show more information about the Alliance team of Happy. What is it? Team Heavenly Swords that helped them out with money and they gave them advice and like they fight each other, but everything with Heavenly Swords. I hope they cover the glory leagues outside of China, like the EU and America, and players coming from the EU style of play over to China and causing trouble. Like suddenly teams that weren't a threat, they literally got a player from the EU to come play for them and changed their style of play so much that they started destroying things.
That's awesome.
Like an aggressive guardian, like a guardian, a tank, being like a savage and destroying people. Like,
that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. I really do hope they get into that.
Crazy, dude.
Because like, I mean, they've done the work. Like this season was like, I enjoyed it and there was a lot of good comedy and like they obviously sacrificed some stuff, but they did a lot. The stuff they did put in, I think they did a pretty good job with. It just wasn't enough of it and enough detail. But yeah, like the reason why I like this show is because I think I lived with you and got to experience at some small level that esports life, that constant travel, the training behind the scenes, like all that, the dedication and the practice that's necessary to be a part of that world. And I think that really gave context to this show for me. Because it helped me, I think, understand that part of your life more, which is something I really appreciated in the show. But yeah, I don't know. I hope it does a little bit better in season 2. I still think it was fun.
I definitely want to watch it now just to see like what they made Yaechu's parents and grandfather look like, because that's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy.
No, it seems like they definitely wanted to have some emotional moments that maybe weren't in the actual book that they just
gotta
decided
have
to
a
put
little
in.
bit of extra drama.
But,
you gotta,
Yeah, it's definitely a based on, not a faithful retelling, it sounds like.
I mean, I just want to, like, in general, I want to shout out our YouTube listenership. Because
Yeah, thanks, guys.
You guys,
Hi, YouTube.
Apparently, y'all have been telling us to read stuff, and I didn't even know. So, I definitely want to thank you guys for, just...
Yo, Hans Anders.
Hans Anders, man.
You're on all of our episodes, and I hope you got a little weird tingle when you heard me say your name just now. But
yeah, thank you. And
you were very helpful.
Hans, if you need help, I will make sure he never gives you a weird tingle again.
He can't guarantee that.
Please communicate.
We've seen your recommendations for the 4 books you've recommended for us, and I'm gonna look into them. I'm gonna try to look into them.
What's one off the top?
Let me go grab
Reincarnated
one.
as a sword?
Yeah, Reincarnated as a sword he brought up. Let me go and pull it up. If you guys go ahead and talk about some other news.
I mean, we could always talk about our points of contact, which are tiger.rollercoaster@gmail.com, and then also at Tiger Coaster on Twitter, and then also our Discord.
And now on YouTube comments. Because
we've been on YouTube for a bit. But we're saying it now.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good to be back in the saddle. Glad to get back into a book that Richard's so passionate about, and it was a fun watch, like I said. So if you have any interest in King's Avatar, but you don't want to read a bunch of technical descriptions of moves, maybe this is the avenue for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Check out the anime and really read the book, dude. The drama in the book, the interactions with the character. If you find a character you really like Wang Shatian or any of them, or if you want to see what Wei Chin's really like, or see Luo Ji win a match by himself,
I do actually want to
please
see that.
see summoners played the style summoner he played well.
Yeah, I remember when I asked you what class you would play and Summoner was your first choice. I was very surprised given the way the show displayed Luo Ji. There's basically, I think, Luo Ji and then, one other Summoner in the entirety of the show that I can remember. No, 2. There was one in the Assault on Tangro outside Kanji City.
I mean, if I played that game, I would be the best Summoner, and I would be one of the gods, for sure. Because the problem is, there's no Summoner god. There's never been a Summoner. It's just a super hard character class, but it has infinite potential, and there's
fucking Mesmers from Guild Wars.
So many styles of playing them. There's the Force Spirit style, there's the Elemental style, there's the amount of macro, and everything a player can do, your summons can do if you can micro them. And the microing is hard. It's really hard.
It doesn't make sense.
So hard.
You're playing a third-person WoW game, and then suddenly you have to play StarCraft 2? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
it doesn't change. I guess that's me coming from the show. It just looks like they're playing WoW.
Well, the way the story explains it to me is it's first person, but you have all of your moves you do. It's a hard game, but not only do you have to do that, he also has to micro. Now you can be bad and let the AI auto attack your minions, but that's terrible. Your minions aren't gonna do anything.
Yeah.
Your corpse flower is gonna do nothing.
If you're not controlling it,
players
you're not
aren't.
playing a
It's imagine you ever played TF2?
Yeah.
You know how they have the Gunslinger Engineer item that lets you aim your
I was bad with it.
Your sentry instead of letting the sentry auto fire. And auto fire, the tracking of the sentry is really slow, so people can outrun or juke it. But you could use the Gunslinger to control it and lead shots for your sentry.
Yeah, but how did that work? Didn't it take away your control of your main character?
Did not. You would aim, you would FPS aim a laser, and the sentry would hit it, kinda. But imagine this, except you're controlling 20 things at the same time.
He can't.
And tabbing through it individually.
You're just tabbing. Yeah, you got to tab to the other controls.
Oh,
so
okay.
Think about playing Meepo, where you have to imagine Hot King control groups for each individual character in your own, all at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think you have enough keys, especially not with the way they were playing the game.
I mean,
Yeah,
they're
certainly
probably
not
doing
with the
it.
way it was being edited. Yeah, no, it was sad because for the most part, it really felt like, you know, when you see like people playing video games on TV, it kind of felt like a slightly more hard. Like they tried a little bit harder than that, but not a lot.
They got somebody who plays games, and they were like, "Yeah, but we're still gonna do."
Where
it.
do you put your hands near these keys? Okay, so I just do it and I just keep going, right?
It's like CSI hacking, but for gameplay. Like,
No, like, dude, they even like. One last thing I'm going to talk about before we end, because this is
We didn't even get to talk about.
this was one of the coolest
Yeah,
things.
no, is this part of that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fine.
So
we didn't even get to talk about.
So they were in a mist-covered map where they can only see like 5 feet ahead of them.
Oh,
And
sorry,
Luo
guys.
G-
Thanks, Yuki Okami and James.
Yuki
yeah.
Okami.
Yuki
Okami.
Okami.
Also James. Hi,
And
James.
James.
Sorry, continue.
That's part of the deal.
And
Hey,
he-
join our Patreon. We can yell your name like also like that, and you can listen to episodes quicker, and also just the Bill episodes that we just did bonus content. Hooray! Continue.
hooray!
Sorry, we didn't even get to talk about.
The fact, the intensity of these pro matches in the Challenger League matches, and how you can see like people break down mentally in these matches over a long time, or like there's no one way to explain each match is an event. You know, at Haikyuu they have a season dedicated to one game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They could do that with King's Avatar for like sets of matches throughout the season in the playoffs. Like it could be hundreds of seasons and it would work because each match it's crazy.
So packed.
It's so packed with just
Yeah, no, King's Avatar.
drama and heart and sacrifice and
Yeah, but like,
King's Avatar is
But
the
no,
literal
it's not.
embodiment of it takes a very long time to explain, but it happened in a single breath of time.
and so like, it's never gonna get all of that across, and that I think is inherently the
problem with the TV show.
yeah. Like, you just gotta eat the idea of. Yeah, whatever you're telling me, show. Like, I get it, and I love it, like, 'cause it is fun. The characters are amazing.
I wish I could just like whatever you watch, I wish I could just implant the book version of it so you could see and you'd be like, oh,
I just want the same group to make Overgeared.
Yes. No,
The same team doing the CGI for this.
is the CGI good?
It's pretty fucking legit. I'm not gonna lie.
good enough. It looks like the people.
Yeah, which is interesting enough. I don't think every single person who makes an avatar in that game would make it look exactly like them, but that is what has happened in this show.
I guess it's just a contrivance to make it to where it's like,
It's
this is
so
his
much fun.
for
character.
the show. It's just to make it.
What
easier
did
to
they do
do.
that for little On One Yee's Little Cold Hands?
Actually, I think they did look a little different.
Little Cold Hands is a girl.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
So
different. in
yeah,
this.
yeah. So like On One Yee's a guy,
he
but
looks,
his avatar is a girl.
it looks effeminate enough.
It was very effeminate. Yeah.
Close enough, sounds like.
All right.
But
What else did
King's
we get to
Avatar
talk
was a good
about?
time. Yeah. Was there anything else we didn't get to talk about?
Oh man,
I mean, I guess I could do
so
that, too.
much. It's so much. I just please read the book,
Yeah.
guys.
We may do another nights if and when I actually read the book to completion, or if season 2 finishes off the rest of the story, which sounds unlikely now. Then maybe we'll do that. But we'll come back to it if
I
it
didn't
feels
get to
right.
talk about Tyranny, the super team dropping the ball in the finals, and that's not even in like season 10. That's like preseason. That's in story shit they didn't even show in the in the TV show because they didn't even cover what's going on in the pro league in the TV
Anything
show.
else we didn't get to talk about that we absolutely must?
No, I think we're good for. Oh, no, sorry.
No, Richard, you starting to say something?
Tangro's silver weapon.
All right. Tangro's
We didn't
silver.
get to talk
There's
about
somebody out
Tangro's
there.
silver
There's
weapon.
somebody out there that's like, "Fuck yeah!" They didn't talk about Tangro's silver weapon. Like,
we didn't even talk about building weapons and that nightmare
Oh,
mesh.
gotta be an
That's-
engineer to do
hey,
that.
hey, they didn't
Building
get to
weapons is
talk about it. We
hard.
didn't even get to talk about it. It's over now.
All right, guys. We love you. It's been great to be back, and if all goes well, we should see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah. See you next time.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye.
Bye bye.